Thank you, folks. It's lovely to be here in Guelph. Last time I think I was in Guelph, I was passing through on my way to Blue Mountain, but it's a lovely town. And I think we've got an opportunity here, folks. Now, you heard from our MC that we haven't seen a blue representative in this great community since 1988. Many of you were around in 1988. You remember those days. And we had a progressive conservative MP by the name of William Weingart. Anyone remember William?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, sounds like he was a great MP. He was a multi-term MP. And then we had a red wave that we haven't been able to shake for over 3 long decades. But there is hope. And I wanted to share with you briefly, and that's why I was delayed getting to this podium. Something I don't like to rely upon too heavily, because sometimes polls and statistics can cloud your better judgment and distract you from your ultimate goal. But
unless it's liberal policy.
Yeah, that's true. One of the more reliable predictors out there, and I'm sure everyone's already heard of this, is 338canada.com. So I briefly took a look at the statistics for Guelph, and I was pleased to see that we had a light blue moniker beside Guelph, indicating that there is a conservative gain in this riding. Now specifically, it shows right now we are at 30 points. 30 points to the Liberals' 26 points. Still pretty damn close. And I know, and I've looked at the electoral records over the last number of elections, the last time we had a close election, close enough that potentially a conservative could win, was 2008. Almost 16 years ago. The probability of success of landing a blue conservative candidate is at 78%. So that is encouraging, and I think it should telegraph a message to the EDA. I trust that most of the EDA is present here today. Can I see a show of hands for the EDA? Excellent. Okay, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to mobilize. I know that we had maybe one person in the House who's kicking the can or kicking the tires to see whether or not they want to put their name forward for nomination. It's a very competitive process, and I was actually surprised because I was anticipating there would be a number of people in the building today looking to become the conservative candidate. Don't let your past, I'm not going to say failures, but past electoral disappointments detract anyone, I mean anyone, from considering running for the nomination. Because now is the time. We are sensing an absolute blue wave from coast to coast to coast. Momentum is gaining really strong. We are approaching demographics that we never even thought we would have a chance in attracting. Most of the major centers literally have 10 to 15 people.
Oh, there we are. Okay, hi everyone. We are Freedom. We are, as promised, we're back on the road on our way back from meeting with Larry Brock, and so we're going to do a little wrap up on that meeting and let you know what our thoughts are. All right, and I'll attach this to the little bit of video I have of Larry, and there you have it. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around to Derek, and we'll talk that way. Okay. All right, so we had quite a day.
Yeah, we did. Actually, well, you remember us, we went into Guelph downtown. We saw basically a homeless encampment, a small town, 200,000 people in Guelph. These homeless could have come trucked in from other cities too.
Yeah, you have to wonder that, eh?
Yeah, we think
but definitely drug problems, and there was a
Huge.
mission just down the street, and we did see needles, and there is a report about that. But let's talk about Larry,
Yeah.
because it was really nice to meet him. It was a relatively small group in Guelph, but as some of those people from Guelph told us, they're like in enemy territory there. It's very liberal, politically, and so they don't have a whole lot of support. So I know Derek promised them some support from us, being whatever us is out here, and other than Guelph land. So yeah, so Larry had a really good speech, and I'll have part of it, and Derek will be showing some of that on his Facebook page and Twitter and whatever else he's got going there. And so why don't we talk, because they'll hear what Larry had to say at the beginning about, Guelph and how it's in real need of a good candidate. But your question to him, why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Your first question about the SNC Lavalin investigation.
Yeah. So I like Larry. I think Larry, aside from some of the MPs out west, is probably one of the closest MPs that is close to the freedom movement, understands our principles, what we say. And in his speeches, he mentioned freedom at least 3 times. From what I remember.
Yeah.
But my question to him was, and now if you're familiar with the SNC Lavalin scandal, there's an inquiry. He's getting nowhere in Parliament. No one's cooperative, including the RCMP. So I basically asked Larry. So there's a few things that Larry needs besides what Jody Wilson-Raybould brought to the very first inquiry on him. Is we need the cabinet papers. So when Justin meets with his cabinet, believe it or not, everything gets transcribed. Everything has to be recorded. The RCMP basically just went to the Privy Council, Justin, and said, we would like the cabinet papers, parliamentary papers for this state range. And Justin said no. And then the RCMP said, oh, okay. Now, my question to Larry is, Larry, how can I, and basically what I said to him, so the RCMP never got the cabinet or parliamentary papers, and he's basically ended his investigation. So I went to Larry, how can I, other than any other way, think that it was just a convenient excuse for the RCMP to not even bother doing it? And Larry agreed. And in fact, there was no political answer from Larry. He straight up said, listen, they're not doing their job. They didn't do any due diligence. And we have him back again in front of the inquiry in February. And I'm going to ask him why. I'm going to ask him why he never went to court to get a warrant.
Now you'll be putting that whole exchange
I'm
up on yours.
Whole exchange up.
Which
so
is
I
awesome.
don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, don't ruin it
but
for everybody.
I was really impressed with it.
He, I loved his straight shooting, just the way he is in the House and in committee meetings. He just told it like it is, and what his thoughts and opinions were. Yeah. So there's a little line up to shake his hand and get a picture and stuff. So Derek and I did that. And we have a picture which I'll include in this. And when the question I asked him was about how Pierre Poilievre continually says, or often says, that when he's in government, he will repeal C11, C18, and axe the carbon tax. And so my question was, how easy will that be to do, with a majority government? And Larry's quick answer was, it would be very easy and within days. And then I asked, but can the Senate bungle that up for you? And he said, yes, they can. So that's something we've got to kind of look at and discuss and kind of figure out, is there a way of, I don't want to say sort of putting pressure on the Senate in any kind of, nasty way by any means, but maybe there is some way of letting the Senate know that this is what we demand really as Canadian citizens that these bills get repealed and this carbon tax be gone. So I don't know, what do you think of that as far as sort of the Senate kind of giving a little pressure to the Senate, you know, writing to senators and saying, hey, you know, this bill needs to be, these two bills need to be repealed. Those are censorship bills. For anybody who doesn't know, I would suggest you look them up, C11, C18, and of course I'm sure we know what carbon tax is. So, yeah, I want to just make this quick because I know I'm running out of juice here. So is there anything you want to kind of add to any of that? It was a great evening, it was a good day.
He's a lot less swampy than Michael Chong before. Because I went to Larry and I said, listen, we need constitutional change in this country. Privy Council has to go. The Senate, the way it is, has to go an electable Senate, equal representation across the country. Larry says 100%.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I want. So you can see how different MPs have different views of it. But Larry's right in tune with that. He ended off by talking about the World Economic Forum, how damaging it is. How he liked the speech from the new Argentine president.
Yeah, he did. That was fun. I got a lot of applause.
The World Economic Forum has no business in the Canadian government, so
yeah,
he had all the check boxes tonight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I really liked him. I think a lot of us do like him, and so we had our impact with him, and I think that's really great. So why don't we sign off? I'm going to turn the camera.
Freedom, everyone.
Hang on. I'll show them the road because it's always good to see the road. And I'll turn the camera around, both of us. All right. Well, how am I going to do that? Freedom for me.
And freedom for me.
Yeah, freedom, everybody.
Have a good freedom weekend.
Yes.
Friday night.
Yeah, have a good freedom weekend.
Get rested up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Bye.